What's up, guys? I remember when I started grad school, I was completely self-conscious that I was one of the youngest students in my cohort. I was 21 years old and I seriously doubted my capacity to help people, let alone my ability to build a thriving private practice. But lo and behold, by the time I graduated at age 25, I did dive in headfirst into private practice. You might be wondering, how is that even possible and can that happen for me? Well, in today's video, I'm going to go over some key tools to go over for you to get started in private practice if you are a young therapist. Welcome to Private Practice Skills. I'm Dr. Marie Fang, psychologist in private practice. I post videos offering tools I learned the hard way about starting and growing private practice so that you don't have to. This week's video came straight from my DMs on Instagram, so if you're not already following me there, be sure to do so. I do try really hard to read all of your messages, and who knows, maybe your question may just end up becoming a video one day. I'll start off this video by sharing a bit of my own story. Now, I am kind of a go-getter, so from the moment at age 14 when I decided that I wanted to become a therapist, I went all in. By the time I finished my doctorate degree, I was 25 years old, living in a new town, pre-licensed, with nowhere to go. Or so I felt. Now, at that time, I was just looking for any job that would allow me to complete my hours. At that point, I had no intent of getting started in private practice, really ever, to be honest. But it was just my luck that I landed a job in a group practice. And once I got started in private practice, there was no turning back. Because I was so young at the time, a huge concern of mine was that my age might be some sort of detriment. Here's a photo of the headshot that I used when I first started in private practice at age 25. I mean, going through the checkout line in the grocery store, people mistook me as a high school or college student, not believing that my ID card was real. How was I ever going to get clients to believe that I was old enough to be their therapist? But I carried on anyways, and as it turns out, my age ended up playing to my advantage. I was working in San Francisco, and at the time, there weren't a whole bunch of 25-year-olds working in private practice in the city, and I worked primarily with college students. So if you remember being 18 years old, seeing a 25-year-old felt like you were meeting someone who was practically middle-aged. So it worked in my favor in this case. Furthermore, the fact that I had a doctorate degree made everyone assume that I was much older than I actually was. And several people really did comment about my age, saying things like, "You look like you're only 21, but I'm assuming you're in your 30s because you have a doctorate degree and you must have been in school for 10 years. I made the choice not to correct them in these moments, and to my surprise, this was never something that anyone ever dwelled on, but beyond just making a simple statement like this. So as it turns out, my concerns about my age were out the window within a couple of months of getting started in private practice. Here are some tools for you to consider if you are a young therapist getting started in private practice yourself. Number 1. Face your fears. Chances are any concerns that you might have about being too young to work in private practice are primarily living in your head. So maybe take a moment to write out what some of your fears are related to going into private practice at your age or maybe in the phase of your career that you're in as a therapist. And then do a little bit of CBT with yourself, challenging any thought distortions you might find on that list. You might find it helpful to also ask a trusted friend or colleague to help you go through this list and challenge some of your unrealistic thinking as well. Number 2, fake it till you make it. This tip is everything. I mean, if you're scared that you're too young to get started in private practice, then get started in private practice scared. If you end up waiting around until you think you're old enough to be able to get started in private practice, then by that point there's just going to be some new fear that holds you back. It's less about your age and more about the mentality of feeling fearful and allowing that to stop you from getting what you want. Number 3, own who you are. I remember in graduate school, I thought I was too young, so I always tried dressing older than my age. I was wearing high heels every day and a skirt or professional slacks, and that's just not really reflective of who I am. It was me trying to be someone who was older than I was and someone who I wasn't. And if you try dressing older than you are, then you're gonna look like you're trying to dress older than you are. So just be yourself. Own who you are, Own your age, and it's going to allow your potential clients to feel a lot more comfortable meeting with you because it means that you accept them the way that they are as well. Number 4, find a support network. Of course, this applies to all of us in private practice regardless of age, but if you're noticing that you're surrounded by people who are telling you that you're too young to get started in private practice, or maybe they're questioning your authority, it might be time to surround yourself with a different group of people. Try to surround yourself with people who acknowledge your unique point of view and value you for who you are regardless of your age. And lastly, number 5, embrace your edge. Yes, as a young person, you have a unique edge to offer to private practice. I remember when I was 25, first getting started in the group practice, over half of the therapists in that group were over age 60. And while that meant that there was a wealth of clinical information for me to learn and grow from, which was fantastic, it also meant that I had a really unique point of view to offer that also helped the group thrive. Just as a quick example to chuckle at, the group was still sending snail mail mailers to announce any sort of event that we were hosting at the group. So I helped the group learn to embrace email and even social media as part of our marketing strategy. There were many things that I had as an edge, and I'm sure you do as well, that you're going to bring to your practice if you're getting started at your young age. All this to say, if you want to get started in private practice, don't let your age or experience level hold you back. Find the supports you need, get some cheerleaders on your sidelines, and make it happen. I mean, what better time is there than now to get started? Well, until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well. It's time to find a different group of people. Find people who value your unique... That was harder to say than I thought.